Well, I said Rob was making another Galactica vehicle, but I had no idea it would be the rarest one in the original toy line. And the best part is that Rob surprised me with it. It just showed up on my doorstep right after I did the other video. No wonder he was laughing at me in the instant messages. Well, here we are. We now have the trifecta of Battlestar Galactica vehicles that were originally underscaled by Mattel, now sized up for all of the Mattel action figures that were made in 1978. And this is the last one that everybody really wanted, which was the Landram. It was not one that anybody thought would be made because it is a more obscure vehicle in the series, but it has the notoriety of being an actual toy from 1978-79 that Mattel allegedly only released in Canada. And once again, it was scaled down for those micro-sized figures that all of the Vipers and Cylon Raiders came with. But Rob has worked his magic, and he's scaled it up. What you're looking at here is almost an exact recreation of Mattel's Colonial Landram tank Land Rover style vehicle. And it has working missile launchers on the top, just like the original, but scaled up. It has two opening doors that can fit two figures, one in the driver's seat and one in the passenger seat. It does not have the windshields that the original Mattel version had, but that would not be a difficult thing to customize and whip up for this particular recreation. Mattel's original Landram vehicle also came with two different systems for mobilization. So you had the more accurate treaded bottom that you could attach to the Landram, but you also had a more conventional wheel-based system that apparently shared its wheels with a fictional vehicle in the line called the Colonial Scarab. They're these big, wide, plastic black wheels, and they look kind of chintzy. However, it did provide kids with an easier way for the Landram to move around on the living room floor. Now, I was looking at the design of Rob's upscale. And what's cool about it is that the treads do have some flex to them. You know, they are a solid piece of whatever type of plastic he used to 3D print them out of, but they do have flex. Now, he's clear to point out that the wheels do not move on this Landram. So you're not really going to be able to use the treads out of the box. However, when I was looking at it, I was kind of getting the impression that somebody with an adventurous spirit now provided with this piece might very easily be able to detach, modify, and turn this into a moving vehicle. That's the really beautiful part about Rob's designs, is that they provide any toy collector with a springboard to easily start customizing and enhancing the functionality and the look of any of these vehicles. Now, I love the way they look right out of the box, as I've said in the Cylon Raider video. However, I will confess that when I looked at the Landram right out of the box and had it for a few minutes in my hands, I thought, it might not take very much to get these wheels moving and get a windshield inside the cabin of the toy. I mean, it looks like you could do it fairly quickly. Now, the one thing that does mimic the Mattel that you need to know is that there really isn't a back storage area. It's just a solid piece of plastic, just like the original Mattel version. So that's another opportunity for any brazen customizer if they wanted to see if they could get into the thing and figure out how to, add more play area to this piece. I just think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous toy, and I love the fact that it is to size with the other vehicles. So not only does it dwarf the Viper in many ways, and it dwarfs the original action figures, it even dwarfs the Mego Land Rover, which was for the Buck Rogers in the 25th Century toy line, which is cool because the Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers design elements for their starships and vehicles kind of share a heritage. So to see how much bigger in scale the Landram is when compared to the Land Rover toy, this is a beautiful opportunity for any customizer. And even if you don't want to customize it and try and add new things to it, I'm thrilled to know that this will be on display next to the Viper and the Cylon Raider in my collection. I just wonder what's next. You know, I wonder what's coming next, because when I spoke to Rob, and he was laughing when he saw the Cylon Raider video, I think because he knew that this was on its heels, and I had said, you know, I heard there was another vehicle. And I really appreciate Rob, you know, sending me this, because I'm just grateful to, you know, have more of his work, but also that he thought enough of the videos that I had done that he wanted me to, you know, have a copy of this, which I'm very humbled by. But I am curious to see what comes out of his chocolate factory next. You know, I'm curious to see what wonders there are to behold from his 3D printers, because this man has a talent, and it's undeniable. And he's doing some great work, and I'm really excited about it. I really love this stuff. I love seeing, you know, how they put these things together, and the ingenuity that goes into it. Now, some people might be noticing that there are visible screws on the top of this turret. The nice thing about this is, if you want to use it as a usable turret, you can, you know, shoot the missiles off, as all of his vehicles can do. But if you want a more aesthetically pleasing display piece, you just simply flip it over. There you have it with the screw heads on the bottom. And that's the beautiful thing about Rob's toys, is that when you see them at a glance, you might not immediately realize that they weren't made in a factory. You might not immediately realize that they were fan-made. And that's the level we're getting to with a lot of these efforts. That's where we're headed, because the toy companies, as I said before, they're very quickly falling behind, the big ones anyway. I know that there's a few out there that are more boutique toy lines for adult collectors. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the players that are on the toy aisles. They're really starting to fall into ruts, and they're starting to fall behind. And fans, as always, are going to pick up the pieces. We're going to grab that baton and keep running with it. So the fans are doing the best work. And this Landram is a perfect example of that. Hope you enjoyed that, everybody. If you want to see more of Rob's work, you can check out our review of his Cylon Raider here. And if you just want to see more cool fan projects of fans doing the best work, you can check out our playlist here. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I'm going to put some wheels on this tank, maybe. Am I brave enough?